And now let me start. Our last part of our notes, got to talk about making babies. 3 of my favorite science words. There's 3 ways that fish can have babies. The first one is oviparous. Oviparous. God, I just sounded like a 2nd grade teacher right there. Sorry. Oviparous. The next one is this word. That's number 2. Oviparous. That was the 2nd grade. The third way is this one. Viviparous. What I want you to know is I want you to know what they are, like the definition of each. I want to give you an example, but then I want you to know the advantages and disadvantages of each one. So then as I go through it, try to fill it out. Oviparous means you lay eggs. Classic example, the salmon. Lay eggs, example salmon. Advantages, disadvantages. Disadvantage would be, well, disadvantage, if you lay the eggs, something's just going to come out and they're going to eat the eggs. Now, that's why fish that are oviparous, they just don't lay like 10 eggs, they're going to lay like 10,000 eggs. And then hopefully 9,990 of them get eaten, but 10 of them don't get eaten. Disadvantage, they get eaten. Advantage. Well, I got to think about somebody that's pregnant. When somebody's pregnant, they get huge. And if you're a fish and you swim in the water, if you're huge, you're really slow. So by just having a bunch of eggs and just dropping them off, you don't get huge. Advantage, you don't get huge. Another advantage. I've been around a few pregnant people and they eat a lot because they got to feed the baby that's inside of them. Well, here, if you have just eggs, you're going to have this thing called a yolk sac where the baby's going to get energy out of the yolk sac. So you don't have to feed the babies. So that's another advantage is you don't feed the baby. Oviparous. What it is that the eggs are inside the mom, but there's no umbilical cord to it. You know what I'm talking about? Umbilical cord? Got it. Example. The great white shark. I don't want to get into details, but a mama great white shark and a dada great white shark, they swim next to each other. Things happen. Mama, she gets pregnant. She has 16 babies inside of her. Oh. Now, the great white shark is oviparous, so the eggs are inside, but there's no umbilical cord going to it. Now, great white shark is 20 feet long, weighs 5,000 pounds. How big is a baby when it's born? Baby's 5 feet long. Baby weighs about 100 pounds. So what happens is that there's 16 eggs inside of mom. The babies, they start to develop, and as they develop, they start to use the yolk sac that's on the egg. And the yolk sac gives them enough energy to get about to be 10 inches long. And then the yolk sac goes away. Well, if I just said that they're born 5 feet long, well, how do they get to 5 feet long if they ran out of yolk sac? You got it. What they do is they start running around each other inside of mom, and they eat each other. They kill each other. And then they eat each other. And they use the nutrients from their brothers and sister to keep on growing. And how many great white sharks are born? Only one. The biggest, bad, fill in the word, shark there is. And it killed all of its babies and brothers and sisters and used the energy to get to 5 feet long. Now, when mama great white shark gives birth to baby great white shark, they separate. They go their 2 separate ways because the baby has already learned how to kill, and it's killed in order that it could kill on its own. All right, so now we could do the advantages and disadvantages. Let's do that disadvantage. Well, mom's going to get big. I want to do a study. I want to do a study of pregnant great white sharks. And are pregnant great white sharks less efficient at killing seals? I want to go out there and do a study. And, sometimes the great white shark comes up and just misses. I bet you those are the pregnant ones. Because they're bigger, they're a little bit slower in the water. That's what I was thinking. Advantage. Advantage, well, if the eggs are inside of you, well, nothing's going to eat the eggs. So supposedly, they're going to be safe. Another advantage, well, if you don't have an umbilical cord to them, you don't have to feed your babies. All right. Oviparous. The eggs are inside and there's no umbilical cord. Examples, the great white shark. Advantage is that the eggs are safe and that you don't have to feed the babies. The disadvantage is you get big. Last one. Viviparous. Viviparous are the eggs are inside, and yes, there's an umbilical cord going to them. Like humans, we're viviparous. I got to give you an example. Example is a manta ray. Manta rays, again, mom and dad, things happen. Mama, she gets pregnant. This time, she probably only has one egg inside of her. And that one egg, there's an umbilical cord going to it that brings the developing egg all the nutrients to grow and develop. Now, manta rays, they're like the great white shark. They're big. They're 25 feet wingtip to wingtip. They weigh 2,000 pounds. Their mouth is 4 feet wide. It swims 3 miles an hour. What? It swims 3 miles an hour? Has a 4 foot wide mouth. What it does, it's a filter feeder. It just swims really slow and it opens its big 4 foot mouth. And then as it does that, any plankton or zooplankton goes in its mouth and then that's what it eats. So back to its advantages and disadvantages. Advantage is that the babies are safe. Disadvantage, there's two of them. You get big and you gotta feed the babies. So if you get big, they're gonna be slow. But they're slow to begin with. They're only 3 miles an hour. So they're gonna slow down to like 2.5 miles an hour, or maybe 2 miles an hour. That's all right. You can keep swimming at 2 miles an hour, swim around, open your big 4 foot mouth. Hopefully there's enough plankton in there to feed yourself and the baby that's inside of you. Well, it's so good to be back taking notes. Hopefully you got these notes and our next class, well, tune in next week and we'll see what our next class is. Give you a hint, forage fish.